Imagine a pill that could slow, or even prevent, the devastating memory loss of Alzheimer's disease, a diagnosis that terrifies millions and wrecks families worldwide. Now picture one of the world's pharmaceutical titans, Sanofi, betting nearly $500 million on a once little-known biotech startup, daring to rewrite this tragic story. This isn't science fiction. This is the real, high-stakes drama unfolding today at the intersection of neuroscience, big money, and groundbreaking technology. But why is Sanofi, a global pharma powerhouse, making such a bold and expensive move right now? What's so special about the upstart it's acquiring, and could all this optimism be headed for heartbreak? Welcome to a journey deep into the secretive world of pharmaceutical R&D, where hope collides with hard science, and the future of Alzheimer's treatment may hang in the balance. Stick with us, because by the end of this episode, you'll understand not only the science and economics behind this mega deal, but also what it could mean for millions of families in the next decade of medical breakthroughs. Let's set the stage. Alzheimer's disease is a modern-day scourge. Affecting over 55 million people worldwide, its huge shadow grows each year as populations age. But the real gut punch is this. After decades of research and hundreds of failed drug trials, effective treatments remain painfully scarce. Patients and families are left with heartbreak, and governments stare down unsustainable healthcare costs that are projected to skyrocket. So when any new approach emerges, especially one backed by deep pockets and scientific promise, the world pays close attention. Sanofi, one of the giants of global pharmaceuticals, has just announced it will acquire Vigil Neuroscience for a cool $470 million. This isn't a random biotech shopping spree. It's a calculated leap into one of the most intimidating and potentially lucrative medical frontiers: neurodegenerative diseases. Why Vigil? The answer lies in the molecules at the heart of their pipeline and the fresh scientific thinking behind them. Vigil's main claim to fame is a drug called VG-3927, targeting a protein known as TREM2. Stay with me. This bit of science could be the billion-dollar difference. TREM2 acts as a sort of switch on microglia, the brain's immune cells, helping clear out damaging plaques and regulate inflammation. In Alzheimer's, these systems break down, and the brain's cleaning crew gets overwhelmed. Scientists believe that boosting TREM2 activity could protect brain tissue and slow disease progression. Now, VG-3927 isn't just another antibody or injection. It's an oral drug, a pill, not a shot, which in the world of Alzheimer's is a potential game-changer. As Houman Ashrafian, Sanofi's head of R&D, put it, TREM2 represents a compelling target at the intersection of immune dysregulation and neurodegeneration, particularly in people living with Alzheimer's because they face devastating cognitive decline with limited treatment options. Here's where the plot thickens. In June 2024, Sanofi invested $40 million for exclusive rights to negotiate for VG-3927. Now they're all in, buying Vigil outright, but leaving behind Vigil's other main program, VGL-101, which will revert to Amgen. That signals crystal clear focus. For Sanofi, this is about staking their claim in the next arms race of brain drug discovery. But let's zoom out and follow the money. Why are global giants like Sanofi funneling billions into US-based research and development, especially in neurology? One answer: the market potential is staggering. The Alzheimer's drug market is projected to reach nearly $12 billion by 2029. With most current therapies only offering marginal symptom relief, and blockbuster drugs like Aduhelm or Leqembi stirring controversy with their limited benefits and high costs, there's a gold rush underway for something truly game-changing. A spokesperson for Vigil, CEO Ivana Magovčević-Liebisch, summed up the stakes perfectly. "We look forward to joining forces with Sanofi's team to leverage Sanofi's resources, broad platform and far-reaching network to fully unlock and accelerate the development of VG-3927 for the potential treatment of Alzheimer's disease, a devastating disease with significant unmet need." But behind the corporate optimism and press releases, the reality is far murkier. Alzheimer's is a graveyard of failed drug trials. Hundreds of promising candidates have fizzled out, sometimes after years and billions poured into development. Why? The answer comes down to two words: complexity and risk. Neurodegenerative disease doesn't follow simple rules. The human brain is perhaps the most mysterious, poorly understood organ in medicine. When things go wrong, they do so in ways that confound even the sharpest scientists. And Alzheimer's, in particular, is a puzzle with far too many missing pieces: plaque buildup, tangles, inflammation, genetic risk, environmental exposures. Each new drug takes a gamble on which piece matters most. This time, with VG3927, the focus is on microglial activation, turning up the dial on the brain's immune responders. The TREM2 protein is a hot target. It sits at the crossroads of neuroimmune function. As Paul Mattis, an analyst at Stifel, recently observed, the timing of the deal is interesting, given a recent failure of a TREM2 targeting drug from Alector and AbbVie. That's right, a similar drug, aiming at the same biological pathway, just failed a highly anticipated trial. Why then is Sanofi willing to place such a huge bet, and why now? Two key reasons keep hope alive. First, VG3927 is not a copycat. It's a novel, small-molecule TREM2 agonist, which scientists at Vigil claim shows unique effects, especially in its ability to synergize with amyloid beta, the notorious protein that forms sticky plaques in the brains of Alzheimer's patients. That's an important twist. If VG3927 can amplify the body's response specifically where damage occurs, it could offer benefits beyond what past drugs delivered. Second, the format matters. Previous TREM2 efforts like Alector's used large injectable antibodies. VG3927, as an oral pill, could make chronic treatment easier and less costly, hugely important for a disease affecting millions. A daily pill, if proven safe and effective, could revolutionize not only patient experience but also healthcare logistics and costs. But even with these advantages, obstacles loom large. Clinical trials for Alzheimer's drugs are notoriously expensive, lengthy, and difficult to interpret. Subtle effects can be easily masked by the complexity of the disease and natural fluctuations in patient symptoms. Regulatory agencies like the FDA are more cautious than ever, especially after several disappointing high-profile approvals and withdrawals in recent years. And let's not forget, VG3927 itself faced a partial clinical hold in its first phase of human trials. Though the hold was lifted, it reveals how high the regulatory bar is and how much scrutiny new Alzheimer's drugs face. For investors, this is both thrilling and terrifying. As Miles Minter from William Blair noted, "We believe this is a good outcome for shareholders in the current funding environment." Translation: biotech capital is tight, and a big pharma buyout is often the best hope for small players. But it's not just about money. Sanofi is betting on a technology and a scientific hypothesis still unproven in humans at scale. Let's pull back and see the bigger chessboard. Sanofi's $470 million outlay looks bold, but it's only a fraction of the $20 billion they've committed to U.S. R&D and manufacturing in recent years. Why? Because whoever cracks the Alzheimer's code stands to win not just financial rewards, but also immense reputational and strategic power in the high-stakes world of pharmaceuticals. Yet, every bet comes with peril. Experts are quick to remind us about just how frequently newcomers in this field, no matter how promising, fail to deliver in late-stage human testing. As Christopher Cole of Biopharm International bluntly put it, Sanofi is acquiring Vigil to boost its early-stage neurology pipeline. These are seeds that may grow brilliantly, or fail to sprout entirely. The competition is fierce. Rival drug makers, from Biogen to Roche to Eli Lilly, have all felt both the euphoria of early trial wins and the crushing disappointment of last-minute failures. Will Sanofi's gamble prove different? Then, there's the question of patient impact. New drugs that can deliver even modest benefits are desperately wanted, but the bar is rising. Regulators and health systems are increasingly wary of approving drugs unless the benefits are robust, the cost justified, and the risks minimized. The last thing anyone wants is another headline about an Alzheimer's breakthrough that fizzles out under real-world scrutiny. Skepticism comes with the territory, but so does hope. Every new approach represents another chance to change the game, and families around the world are watching, waiting, and praying for better options. So here we stand. Sanofi owns Vigil, stakes claim on VG3927, and readies for the clinical trial gauntlet. Billions are on the line, but so are lives, legacies, and the next chapter in the fight against one of humanity's most dreaded diseases. But as the ink dries on this multi-million-dollar deal, one critical question burns brighter than ever. Can VG3927 and the unique approach it represents succeed where so many others have failed? And if it does, or even if it doesn't, what will be the ripple effect through the worlds of pharma, patient care, and global healthcare economics? The answers and the next moves in this high-stakes gamble are where we turn next. Now, as Sanofi stands on the edge of this $470 million leap into the unknown, the world is watching. Will VG3927 break the curse that has haunted Alzheimer's research for decades, Or will it become another name in the long list of promising treatments that faltered before reaching patients? Let's dive into the possible futures that could unfold from this high-stakes gamble and what it all means, not just for an industry, but for millions of families searching for hope. First, let's imagine the most optimistic scenario. VG-3927 succeeds in its Phase 2 clinical trials. It proves to be safe, effectively slows cognitive decline, and perhaps most importantly, does so in a way that is easy for patients to take, as a simple pill rather than an injectable or infusion. This alone would be a seismic shift. Most current Alzheimer's treatments, such as lecanemab and aducanumab, require regular hospital visits for infusions, straining healthcare systems, and exhausting patients and caregivers alike. An oral disease-modifying therapy would give newfound autonomy to patients, allowing treatment from the comfort of home. But the impact would go beyond convenience. VG-3927's unique targeting of the TREM2 pathway addresses a different mechanism than the anti-amyloid antibodies that have dominated headlines. By activating microglial cells, the brain's own cleanup crew, VG-3927 could potentially address the underlying neuroinflammation implicated in Alzheimer's. If this approach pans out, it would validate a wave of new drug candidates aiming to modulate the immune system in neurodegenerative diseases, opening a whole new chapter for research and treatment. The industry response would be electric. Success would turbocharge investment into the TREM2 pathway and related neuroimmune targets, inspiring both pharmaceutical giants and nimble biotechs to redouble efforts in this space. The FDA, regulators, and even insurers would likely fast-track similar candidates, accelerating the arrival of more innovative therapies. Financially, the stakes are massive. With the Alzheimer's market projected to hit nearly $12 billion within a few years, even a slice of that pie would mean blockbuster revenues for Sanofi. And for Vigil's investors, this would be a fairy tale ending, an early-stage asset transformed into a global goldmine. As Miles Minter of William Blair put it, we believe this is a good outcome for shareholders in the current funding environment. But what if the story takes a darker turn? The reality is, Alzheimer's trials are notoriously difficult. The disease progresses slowly and unevenly from person to person, making it challenging to show meaningful improvement in a matter of months or even years. Many drugs that look promising in animal models or early human studies have stumbled in late-stage trials, often for reasons no one could have predicted. Remember, the TREM2 pathway is still surrounded by scientific mysteries. Earlier this year, a competing TREM2 targeting drug from Alector and AbbVie failed to show benefit, fueling skepticism. Paul Mattis from Stifel noted, "The timing of the deal is interesting, given a recent failure of a TREM2 targeting drug from Alector and AbbVie. If VG-3927 fails, the consequences will ripple across the industry. Sanofi will have poured nearly $500 million and years of research into a dead end. Investors could become more cautious, especially around early-stage neurology deals. Small biotechs betting on the neuroimmune approach might face stricter scrutiny and tighter purse strings. And most importantly, patients would have to wait even longer for the next potential breakthrough, stuck with a small handful of modestly effective treatments. Yet even in failure, there would be lessons. Every clinical trial, even the ones that fall short, pushes the science further. Each disappointment peels back another layer of Alzheimer's bewildering complexity, guiding future research onto more promising paths. And in truth, the future may not be so black or white. There's a strong chance that VG-3927 finds itself somewhere in the middle, showing signals of benefit for some patients, but not others, or working best when combined with existing anti-amyloid or anti-tau therapies, rather than as a standalone miracle. Already, combination strategies are widely discussed in industry circles. And with such an enormous unmet need, even incremental progress can change thousands of lives. So, what practical lessons can we take from all of this, especially if you're watching as someone impacted by Alzheimer's, working in healthcare, investing in biotech, or simply fascinated by medical progress? First, understand just how long and winding the road from lab to clinic truly is. Even with this acquisition, VG-3927 is only now entering Phase 2 trials. It will be years before we know whether it truly moves the needle. Drug development, especially in neurology, is a marathon, not a sprint. This isn't just a race to the next breakthrough, but a relay, where each team hands the baton to the next generation of scientists and drugs. Second, remember that innovation often requires risk, from both scientists and companies. Sanofi's willingness to bet $470 million, despite the bruising history of Alzheimer's failures, signals that real progress sometimes demands boldness. As Homan Ashrafian, Sanofi's head of R&D, emphasized, this acquisition is fully supporting Sanofi's strategic focus on neurology and on advancing science and leveraging our expertise in immunology to solve areas of critical unmet need. If you're an investor or entrepreneur, take note. The neurology space is regaining momentum. Even setbacks don't necessarily mean the end. They can illuminate new opportunities and strategies. The flood of capital and partnerships in this area suggests that the sector is bracing for a new wave of innovation, and that fortunes, reputations, and patient lives alike may hang in the balance. For families and caregivers, this story is a signal to watch developments closely, but keep expectations realistic. While the promise of a pill to slow Alzheimer's is exciting, clinical proof will take time. Stay informed. Trusted advocacy groups and clinical trial registries are excellent resources to track progress, and for some, even participate directly in trials. And for anyone passionate about healthcare, the story of Sanofi and Vigil Neuroscience is a case study in the interplay of science, business, and human hope. It's a reminder that every pill, every treatment, is the product of risk, sweat, failure, and sometimes extraordinary perseverance. So, what's the final verdict on Sanofi's gamble? Will VG3927 become the game changer so many have dreamed of? The truth is, the jury is still out. The next 2 to 5 years will be critical. If VG3927 proves effective and safe, it won't just change Sanofi's fortunes. It will validate an entirely new approach to battling Alzheimer's, shift billions in research funding, and, most crucially, offer hope to patients for whom every day counts. If it fails, the field will pivot, absorb the lessons, and, as always, try again. After all, that's how medical progress is made, through relentless trial, error, and discovery. But here's a secret fact you might not have heard, one that captures just how much is riding on this moment. In the past decade, nearly every major pharmaceutical company has suffered staggering failures in Alzheimer's research, with more than 99% of experimental drugs failing in trials. Yet despite that, the industry is investing more in Alzheimer's now than ever before. Why? Because even incremental disease-modifying progress, even a few extra months of good memory, has a life-changing impact for families, economies, and societies. That's what keeps the hope alive. As we wait for the results of VG3927's next clinical chapters, the world will be watching. Will Sanofi's bold move turn the tide, or will it serve as another hard lesson for the next generation of drug hunters? Only time, and the unyielding courage of patients and scientists, will tell. If you found this deep dive into Sanofi's high-stakes acquisition as fascinating as we did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss our updates on the front lines of science and medicine. Leave your questions and thoughts in the comments,